Welcome to the Sports Hangover. I'm Michael Benatar, joined alongside J-Dog.
Mike, you're wearing a Dodgers shirt today, and I don't know why, because you're not a baseball fan.
Not a baseball fan. I live in like Dodger country, basically. I'm very, very close to Dodger Stadium. People have flags outside.
That's not what it's called, though.
What is it? No, it's not what it's called. I'm not giving my exact location. What? Chavez Ravine.
Chavez Ravine. Thank you.
Yes. Well, I'm not in the ravine.
It's called Chavez Ravine. You're just outside the ravine. We're not going to tell you the street, but it's just outside the ravine. And by the way, let me just go on a little rant about this for a second.
Go for it. Yeah.
The LA sports writers have been talking about the Braves. It's a Braves-Dodgers playoff series. If you're not paying attention, you probably should. Nope. It's been a great series. The Braves have won 4 out of 5 games. We hope they don't blow it like they did last year. Same situation. They were up 3-1 and they blew it. Same situation this year. So the LA sports writers are calling out Atlanta fans because they're called the Braves. They do the tomahawk chop by saying it's racist. Did you know Chavez Ravine was created in the 1950s and the LA government forced all of these people out of the area to build Chavez Ravine, and they didn't give them proper money or anything. So
is this just your shot? This is your shot at LA writers saying, so what in context are they saying about the Braves? Like what, like, I feel like we've already had this conversation with all the other teams that have, racist names. What are they saying? Or are they just bringing it up?
I was hoping for.
No, I'm just curious because I didn't read it. So I'm curious what they're actually saying about it. Like, hey, you Braves fans, you guys are all racist. Like,
well, it's not great for Native Americans. It is the issue with the chop and with the team name. So we know the Cleveland Indians, they're changing their team name next year to the Cleveland Guardians. Not the best name, but we know from the Washington football team, good names, they take years and years sometimes.
I'm in on Washington football team. It's actually a solid name. I like the logo. Looks
At least we're getting it right when we say it. But anyway, they're saying the Braves and the Native Americans, there's some offensive stuff going on there. Maybe it is. That's not why I'm a fan. I've been a fan since I was a kid. And I'm just happy to be along for the ride. But the Dodgers are guilty as well. So today, Mike, it's based on your shirt, is the sports equinox. I don't know if you're aware of this, but it's one of the only days all year where the 4 major sports are all in action on the same day. We have baseball playoffs. We have NFL tonight. We got the NBA and the NHL tipped off, which I know you're pumped about. I want to see if we could do like a little 4-team parlay to start the show.
Oh my
with
God,
one team. And I'll give you a little minute here. I didn't prep you for this. I just want you to come up with it on the fly. So the first one obviously is the Braves. It's Braves at Dodgers. They're up 3-1 in the series. Braves ace is going. So that's one. Next one would be Broncos and Browns. We got NFL tonight. Do you have a bet on that game ready?
So we're taking the Broncos. The lines moved a lot. I would just go Broncos money line. Baker's out. Isn't Chubb out too? Chubb and so they're both Kareem injured. Hunt. So it's like I'm taking Broncos. Let me see if it's even possible. Sometimes they don't let you do multiple. Now I don't really think I want to take the Braves because it seems like the right move for the Dodgers to win tonight.
Oh,
right.
Well, yeah, it would be the right move, but they're not playing well. They've lost 3 out of the 4 games in the series so far. The Braves have their ace pitching. The Dodgers have a bullpen game. You can take the Dodgers. That's fine.
Okay. I'm allowed to take the.
I'll take the Braves.
What about NBA tonight? We got Clippers, Golden State. We have Heat, Bucks, or Hawks, Mavericks. Do we stick with Atlanta here? Do we go Atlanta vibe, or do we?
I was thinking
LA
the
vibe?
Opposite of that. Luka and the Mavs. I mean, they put on such a show. They're probably undervalued because he's not as big a superstar as other guys. I would guess the Mavs are the play.
I'll put it in there. We got the Mavs. Now all we need is hockey.
Now I need you for this. Yeah.
Let's see what's going on. We got Islanders, Blue Jackets tonight. Capitals, Devils. Avalanche, Panthers. Sharks, Senators. A lot of games. Hurricanes, Canadians.
Nice. Hockey's back on ESPN. Is that tonight?
It's back.
Recently? This week?
It's all back on ESPN. It's big. Wow. I love it. I love that it's like front and center. Finally, people are getting to watch it. I'm gonna go Washington Capitals here. I like it. Ovechkin, put him in. Devils have been bad for a very long time. I think this is a solid play. And it's also weird at the beginning of the season. Like I feel like a lot of teams aren't really. All right, so this is the bet. We got Broncos, Dodgers, Mavericks, and Capitals.
And you're doing Dodgers. I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not signing off on that. I think you're wrong. I think you lose the bet because of that, but you can do it if you want. Obviously,
so $10 wins you $126. This is a live.
If you're a sports fan and you're watching us live and you're not doing the exact same thing we're doing, you're just doing it wrong because the sports equinox only happens a certain amount of times.
The bet is placed. It's in. I hope it hits because that's I love it. I love it. That's great. I mean, it just makes me excited that we got all these games going tonight. So now I have to watch all these games. Now that's what I have to do tonight is like put on all the TVs.
It's kind of a lot. You have 4 TVs?
Kind of a lot. No. I'll get the iPad out, maybe a TV screen somewhere. It'll be good. All right, that's good. I didn't know.
Yeah.
This exciting day. Very exciting day. So I was going to talk about, I mean, this was at my headline last week. We missed last week, couldn't schedule it out. And this was one of the big stories was New Jersey just became the sports capital betting, like capital of the world. It outpaced Las Vegas, which I get because it's more locals. Like it seems like they're just getting a lot more money there. So for the last 4 years, 2018, they had $184 million. September 19th, $445 million. September 20th, September 2020, $748 million. And this September, they just hit $1 billion in sports bets in a single month. This is just month. So they just went by September each month, and that was how much you were making each month.
So those were going back to September's in the years past, but how were people betting on them then if it wasn't legal? Is that only in the casinos?
I think only in the casinos. So then when it became legal, now everybody's able to do it. I think now with even the apps, you just cross that border into Jersey, gamble, walk back over to the other side, and you're good. And I love it. I think all these towns, like I know Philadelphia's doing it. Denver has sports gambling. I love it. I think they should do it everywhere. I feel like Vegas is the only one who doesn't want to do it because they want people to come there to do it, right? That's we used to go there.
Yeah, Vegas is the place to do it. We used to go and do those things. We haven't been to a sports game. Maybe we should go for like a sports equinox in Vegas, do like a football and a hockey game on the same weekend or something.
Okay. All right. You'll be here soon. Maybe we zip up to Vegas for a night.
Sports hangover outing. You never know.
I love it. Yeah. We'll see.
What I was going to say about that is the apps are just crazy. And you see what's kind of tilting the sports betting craze. You see it on commercials, you see it on the ads, everywhere. You see it on the content, like the pre and the post game shows they're showing odds for the first time. And it's weird because we've always had this kind of content. You've been doing best bets for years and years, but it always takes like the leagues and the league partners just like so long to get on board with it. But now that they're on board, the floodgates are open. And why is sports betting illegal in any of the 50 states today in 2021? Why are we still having this discussion?
You could say that about a lot of stuff. Like, why isn't weed legal over here? Why isn't it this? Just like it takes time to get it there. But it is weird that I almost don't like the gambling aspect to some of the shows because it's just unnecessary. It's like, oh, I'll take them -3. Like, they don't really know why. They're just kind of taking it. It's like, I just like them. I'm going to take them. Like, it's almost at this point, it doesn't fit the context of what the show is in a way.
And it's going to get worse as it keeps going and going. There's going to be more sports betting content everywhere. But you're right. It's like football analysts who may have played football giving you a line or giving you a thought on a line, but they're not bettors. They're just football players. So it's like, tell me who's going to win the game and why. Don't tell me why you're taking that side because that's not your specialty. And maybe you're a better than some of the football analysts on TV, right? Based on your recent record.
Yeah, recent record is 1-9. We're not doing good. It's been really bad. So last week I texted you. This week we'll do it again. I want to hear your picks. I want to see what your ideas are. You can hear my ideas. It might just become Jeremy's best bets because my best bets are not working out. They are terrible right now. I don't know what it is.
It's a good tease. Best bets. So at least we have dueling picks. Maybe they'll be all opposites. Would be fun. Like and I'll tell you how I did last week too. It's a little better than what you did.
I'm sure.
1-4.
What do you want to do?
Want to do Scandal City first?
Let's do Scandal. There's a big scandal last week. No iPad, just classics.
So last time, I know, no iPad. It's okay. Last time we met and had a show, we were talking about NFL football coach in hot water, Urban Meyer. And I bet a lot of folks were listening and they went to their sports betting app and they bet on the first coach to be fired or to be gone was going to be Urban Meyer. And they lost their money right away because John Gruden said, hold my beer, and just had to have the biggest scandal. And no one's talking about Urban Meyer. No one talks about the Jaguars. I know they beat the Dolphins in London. We could talk about that. But now John Gruden, your boy, I mean, that was your guy, him and Tirico on ESPN, Monday Night Football. And now he's been blackballed by the NFL. And it was like instantly.
So immediately my thought was like, who's sending out emails from 10 years ago to like the league office to get him in trouble? It seemed a little scandalous. Like, what's happening? There's got to be something behind it. Now, sure, what he was doing in the emails, probably you shouldn't send in emails. Most likely you shouldn't send.
Absolutely, you should not. Yeah.
I don't think we've ever exchanged emails like that. Like, it's just some of the stuff is, and he's like that fiery guy. So you almost can believe that he actually did say all of this and he came out, said all that stuff. But then I felt bad for him in a way because it happened 10 years ago. And like, people change. Like he's probably not the same guy from 10 years ago as now. Now, if it happened last month, I'd be like, yeah, he probably should resign or back out. And you can't say all that stuff. 10 years ago is a different climate. There was no like, it was just totally different. Things were totally different and things have changed. And I'm sure he doesn't send emails like that anymore, but I just went scandalous on it. I'm like, who's doing this? Who's the mastermind behind it all? Because somebody's
yes, there's a whole thing to unpack there with the mastermind, but I'm not going to give Gruden credit for not doing it now. There's nothing that we know about the situation where he stopped talking like this or stopped sending emails about this. We just know that these happen.
I guess in my mind, I thought more about it as like, you might have made a mistake in college. And then 10 years later, some like ex of yours is like, fucking Jeremy, he's an asshole. I'm going to send this out to him. It's like one crazy text you said or whatever it is.
That's called revenge porn, right?
Something like that. But now your whole career is over. This guy has to go into hiding. He basically got public shamed in front of everybody. And I don't know. I guess I feel bad, but also like he shouldn't have been doing that. So it's a weird feeling. And I feel like,
he messed up. He's a bad dude. He should be publicly shamed. He had to step down. There's no way, like the things that he talked about, especially having Carl Nassib on his team, especially the things he said about Roger Goodell, there's no way he was going to survive it.
So one of the defenses that I kept seeing online was like, we have multiple people in the league that have physically done domestic violence to their significant other. And we just, hey, no big deal. Like you sat in court, you paid a fine, come on back to the league. This guy sent an email. He didn't even hurt anybody, maybe emotionally, and said some stuff that probably he shouldn't be saying. But that was my thing, is like, it doesn't make sense to me. And maybe I'm on the wrong side of it. I'm not defending him at all, but that's how I feel about like domestic violence. Way worse than a nasty email. I'll tell you that. For sure.
Way worse for sure. I think coaches, kind of like the Urban Meyer situation, like they're held to a higher standard. If Blake Bortles is at the bar on the video, like Urban Meyer, like no one thinks twice because that's Blake Bortles' life. But if it's Urban Meyer, then it's a whole thing and he almost gets fired for it. So I think coaches and leaders are held to a higher standard.
I guess it just, for me, like the balance of like when the league the league didn't even step in. It was just, he resigned on his own. He's like, this could get messy. He's going to back out. But when people are domestically abused, or we could even say Deshaun Watson, like they just kind of let him go. It's like, you might have done this to 20 women. Hey, come on the team, play with us. Like, no big deal. Like, we'll settle it outside. And that's what is confusing to me. There's no standard of, if you do something, you are out of the league. And now, is this the new standard? Or are we going to just say, well, physical violence, totally cool, but emails, you're out. And that's what got me kind of curious. There had to be more behind it. Like 10 years ago, just seems weird. It's a
fair criticism. Of course, on this show, The Sports Hangover, we are Big J journalists, as they like to say. And so we're asking the hard questions.
What are Big J journalists? What is that?
We're that's what they say on Pardon My Take, another popular sports podcast similar to ours.
Yes. It's not as popular as ours, but yeah, it's close.
Correct. But what I was going to say is, you brought up a good point, and something that needs to be explored more is, why is the NFL investigating the Washington football team for misconduct and having poor ownership and all these things? And the only thing to come out of it is John Gruden's emails. What happened in the Washington football team? The GM, that Bruce Allen, that Gruden was sending these emails to, what was he writing back? Was he deleting them and reporting them? Or was he saying, yeah, I agree with you? Where are those emails? Where is everything else that was going on in the Washington football team? Why is their owner, Daniel Snyder, scheduling the Sean Taylor jersey thing like 3 days after this Gruden thing comes out, and he kind of wants attention on the field and not on his program? So there's all kinds of issues that are kind of undeveloped.
Yeah, because it's weird, because the Washington thing, because I guess when all that was happening, his brother was working there. So I guess was it emails back and forth? Clearly his brother didn't do this. Was it Bruce Allen that sent an email? Was it somebody else that had access to it? Because it had to be somebody higher level. Like, if this was investigating reporting, you would have to go deep and figure out what was really going on, because it was so out of the blue. Like, out of nowhere, it's just like, dude's fired. Like, that's it. You're gone. So yeah,
more to come on the Washington football team. The word, Mina Kimes tweeted a word that came to her mind about this, and the word is repulsive. And so often, why is the NFL so repulsive? You mentioned the domestic violence. We have two coaches now in hot water in a week's time span for being inappropriate for different reasons. The definition of repulsive is arousing intense distaste or disgust. Why does the NFL have a problem with being disgusting so often?
I mean, immediately I thought, well, they probably have more issues because there's more people on the team. Like just this week, I think after Sunday Night Football or whatever, one of the Dallas players got stuck for DUI. Just, whatever. But that's because there's 53 men on each roster, plus people that work on top of the team. But with NBA, you got a core guy, 12 guys, whatever, and that's it. So it's like percentage wise, you're going to see more in the NFL, but I don't understand. Like we've always talked about it, like years ago. Remember when people were getting like DUIs? Like hire that person that stands by you, drives you around, does all the stuff for you. Like have that one person, pay him $100,000 a year. You get paid $20 million. That I would sign up. Sign me up. I'll walk around
the Cowboys
with
specifically. It kept happening in the Cowboys franchise.
Yeah.
It's like when dudes go out on Friday night, just send someone with them to protect them. There's a solution.
Just have some. And I honestly there are guys in the league, like our friend of the show, Marvin Jones. He's like a good guy, got a big family, like working hard, just wants to be a good wide receiver. But it's like some guys just come from different backgrounds. And I think the guys that might have a little more edge or want to drink a little more, do something, hire that guy. Because I think that would honestly solve every issue of all this, because it's bad decision making. That's what it is.
Issue after issue, it's coming up in the NFL. I know baseball and other sports have their issues, and they seem to be more one-offs. In the NFL, it's every week there's someone who's in legal trouble or something like this. So it's brutal. By the way, Coach Ed Orgeron, another famous head football coach, he's from LSU. He's also going to leave at the end of the year. They worked out this little deal, and then details are starting to come out on why. So he just won a national championship with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase 2 years ago. Apparently, not only are they like 500, which is not good enough in the SEC, but also not bad enough to be fired after you win a championship. He's been having girlfriends' kids come to practice and participate in practice, like stopping practice to make sure they get some time, and also like pulling up to a gas station and saying, "Hey, do you want to work out with me?" to another woman, when she, it turns out, was married to someone in the LSU athletic department who reported Coach Ed Orgeron to like the governor of the state of Louisiana. So like small town politics here in Louisiana is catching up to Coach O. So it's like a third coach now in hot water.
Isn't that funny that it's just like a small town? Like that was probably going on for a while, but his head was just getting a little too big. When stuff, that raspy voice always sounds like he's been yelling for days. I just saw that. I'm like, well, how is this happening? Like stuff blows my mind. I'm like, this guy thought it was okay. Like, I'm going to bring this girl I'm dating. Let's see what the kids can do. Like he's 10 years old, like throw him the ball.
The power is disturbing, and it's repulsive.
Good word. What do you want to do next? I have something on Disney, but I don't know if it was that good. It was just more about the cable bundling and everything like that. You want to talk about it?
No, I have some football stories. Can we talk about those
football? Let's do football.
Big Dick Energy. We'll start there.
Let's do it.
My big dick energy is a guy named Antonio Brown. 2 weeks ago, he torched the Dolphins for 7 catches, 124 touchdowns, or 124 yards, 2 touchdowns. But more importantly, that would be a lot in his career. Even that would be a lot. You remember this? He called out the Steelers organization. He got out in time. They're now a dumpster fire. He went to the Raiders and John Gruden. He got out of there in time. They're now a dumpster fire. Maybe Antonio Brown, who is going through his own mental episode the last few years, maybe he's not as bad as we all think if everywhere he leaves burns down and he just gets to continue on.
I mean, watching those like what was it, Hard Knocks and all that, and the videos of, I think he is a little like loose in the head, like he's a little wild, but it does make a lot of sense. Like left Pittsburgh, left the Raiders and all this stuff, maybe left the league for a minute too, but maybe he was right. I don't know. It like stuff adds up, but maybe, I don't know. What do you think? I
think he was right. Yeah, that's what I brought up. So that's why he's my big dick energy of the week. Also, did you know he has the most receiving touchdowns in the NFL since 2014 with 68? I did not know that. I was surprised by that. I would have told you from 2017 to 2019, he didn't catch many, but apparently he has, because he has 68 touchdowns since 2014.
Even though wasn't he out of the league for a year?
He missed 27 games. He still leads the league in touchdowns, which is amazing. And he still looks really fast. Every time you see him, he's the best receiver on that team.
Yeah.
The team with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I got one more for you before best bets. Can we do a guess that tweet?
Yes, let's do it. Guess that tweet. That's our classic right there. Yeah.
I know. It's a good one. All right. This time you're going to fill in the blank for me for guess the tweet. This is a real tweet. I'm just going to leave the player out of it and you tell me who it is.
Okay.
Imagine you are blank. Life is good. A big contract to live in LA. 7 months later, you're in Detroit. It will be 37 degrees in October. Your best wide receiver is Khalif Raymond, and your coach just called you out for underperforming in a press conference. Who is that tweet?
That would be Jared Goff. Who is Jared Goff? I love it. I saw that. I'm like, is he really calling him out right now? In my mind, this went to best. This is not in best bets, but this is what I thought about. I like pondered it for a second for a best bet. Jared Goff coming back to LA this week, playing the Rams, a revenge game. His coach calls him out. He's hyped up. He's playing hard, and he's going to come in and try to beat the Rams, which sounds kind of crazy. But then our mutual friend who was on the line when I was pitching him this idea, he's like, well, you could say the same thing about Matthew Stafford.
The other guy.
In against,
a better
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, so it might not hold up. We've talked about this progression. Like, you always want to do the reverse Goff. You never want to do the full Goff. The reverse Goff is when you go from Detroit to LA and everything gets better. The reverse Goff the real Goff is when you go from LA to Detroit and everything gets worse. And his life has gotten worse in so many ways.
Do you think, because I've been watching the games, they seem feisty. They like kind of play hard, but they get kind of blown out, maybe more to the defense, but they seem like they're playing hard. He doesn't have elite receivers. He doesn't have all the talent around him. I felt like he was doing okay for what he has.
I don't think it's his fault. His coach called him out. Maybe the coach should call the GM out. Maybe the coach should call himself out for taking over that roster.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people to blame. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if Goff is the guy. I do have that game in my best bets.
Okay.
Actually.
Well, I have two bullshit or believes we can go over real quick. Okay. Bullshit or believe, Cam Newton coming to Seattle. That's rumored right now. Do you believe those rumors?
Geno Smith played well against Pittsburgh. They took him to overtime on the road in Pittsburgh.
Did you watch the game?
Steelers team, not at all. The Braves Dodgers.
If you watch the game, it was basically like an old school ground and pound. Let's use our running backs and we're gonna run, and occasionally we'll let Geno throw the ball. He threw it okay, but you weren't confident every time he threw the ball. So I would say this might be a good move. I would believe it, but I also hate Cam Newton, so I don't want him to come to Seattle.
I'm gonna say bullshit. They're gonna roll with Geno.
All right, another one. Bullshit or believe, your boy, or hopefully your team's boy, Deshaun Watson. A lot of rumors. Three team trades. Washington football gets Tua. Miami gets Deshaun. I don't know what Houston gets, but they're trying to work it out.
One thing is, you got to be careful publicly saying Deshaun Watson is my boy, because that's not true. He's a bad boy, and I'm not claiming him, and I'm not a fan of his until he's on my team and until he's legally cleared. Yes, there's a lot of Watson news going on. What I think that report is about is it was the Texans beat writer who's super well connected and been around a long time. He put that out there. I think the Texans organization want the trade offers to come in and get better because the trade deadline's coming up next week on November 2nd. So likely that trade is not as realistic as is being reported, and they're trying to get their best offers. Now, could that still happen? Could he come to Miami? I don't know why you do it now. Why can't we let the legal thing play out? Like, who's giving up all these picks, and how is he going to be legally cleared unless you know he's going to be legally cleared?
Do you think it's just because Miami realizes Tua is not the answer and Washington's desperate for a quarterback? Miami wants one, and they're willing to give up what Houston wants. So it almost kind of all works out. Everybody's desperate, and
there's a lot of desperation.
A lot of desperation there. A lot of teams that are desperate.
You're right. Houston's desperate. Miami's desperate, and Washington's not having a good time without Fitzpatrick. Heineke's losing games.
Yeah, he's not the answer there. So I think it all makes sense.
And you can speak to this. I think out of desperation, you do dangerous things, right?
You do dangerous things. Yeah, you just do crazy stuff. So maybe they're going to do it. Who knows?
We'll see.
All right, you want to do best bets?
Let's do it.
All right. Do you want to just recap your picks last week? I'm not going to go over mine.
I was 2-3. I was slightly better than you, but I realized how hard it is because every week I come on here and I critique your picks and I never give my own, and that's pretty easy. So I like what you're making me do.
So let's go back and forth, and maybe we'll have a few. Why don't you kick it off first? What is your bet and what is the line?
All right, so I'm starting with tonight. I know the line changed a little bit. Hopefully folks are listening live and can still get in. They can listen live anytime on youtube.com/sports hangover. Go to Facebook, search the Sports Hangover. We're in several places live. I'm taking the Broncos as well. I think that's now like a even money, like money line you got to take. That's fine. The Browns are so banged up because Baker's out and Kareem Hunt is out and Nick Chubb is out and Landry's back, but that's not good enough.
Yeah, I had that pick as well. Once I heard the news, like Baker couldn't make it, I think it's Case Keenum as the backup. I don't have much trust in him. If they have no running game, they have no throwing game. You only can throw to Jarvis Landry. Good luck. We'll see what happens, but I don't think I don't think they're going to be able to win. And the line we got in the contest is 5 + 5 for Denver. So that's easy. They don't even have to win the game.
That's great. That's pre-Baker injury action. The Browns defense has been getting shredded. They gave up 44 points to the Chargers 2 weeks ago. They gave up 37 points to whoever they played last weekend. They lost. And now they're on a short week against Denver. That's really tough.
I love it. Okay. I'll go for my next one. I'm taking New England at home, -6.5 against the Jets. I think New England's a pretty solid team. They can hang. They hung with Dallas, right? They were in there.
It's a good game.
They were looking good. So I'm riding it right now. I think this might be a big public bet, but I feel like New England is the better team. I don't like giving up so many points, but it's 6.5. So we'll see what happens here. But I wish it was 7, so it could just like be there. It's a weird number. 6.5. You'd rather it be 6 or 7, but 6.5 makes it harder.
I thought about that one. I like how Mac Jones is playing. I like how the Patriots are playing post Brady at this point. But they kind of played Zach Wilson tight in an earlier meeting this year. I don't know. Yeah. Will Belichick get in Zach Wilson's head, or will it be a close game? So I didn't go on that one. I don't think it's a bad bet, though.
Okay. What do you got?
My next one, I teased earlier, Lions-Rams. You don't have it, but I do. I saw the line, and I know the situation with the quarterbacks. I know the Rams are far superior. You don't see 15 points very often. Like, I got 15 points. So
Lions you're taking the Lions?
Plus 15 at the Rams. I get it. The Rams are going to save something here in the second half. If they're up 2 touchdowns, Darrell Henderson's out of the game. Stafford could be out of the game. I think they're going to tone it down in the fourth quarter. The Lions cover.
I'm going to rebuttal that because I've seen the Rams. They don't take their foot off the gas pedal. They just keep going. It's like, we'll score 40, 30, whatever.
What do you mean? They played the Giants last week. They blew them out. John Wolford came in at quarterback early in the fourth quarter. He played almost 25% of the game at quarterback. But
I think listen, I've bet the Lions almost every single week, and they've disappointed me. I have a lot of hope for the Lions. That's why your
record is what it is.
I have a lot of hope for the Lions. I thought about the Lions for a minute. It's a lot of points. It looks juicy. But I think let's say this. Let's say Rams are the 3rd best team in the league. Maybe 2nd. Okay? 2nd best team in the league. And we have Lions all the way down here. What would you say? Like 2nd worst in the league? Or who are you going to put last? I think Lions.
Dolphins, Jets, Jags.
Okay. There's a lot. I mean,
some options.
I just feel like when you're that good, and this could be a revenge game, and that's where I got talked out of it. Stafford playing the Detroit Lions, going to blow them out. I think it's more of a revenge game for him, and I'm going to stay off because I don't know what to do with that. But I do agree, but I wouldn't bet it.
It's not the biggest line of the week. Are you betting the biggest line?
Oh, I'm betting the biggest one. So I have Houston plus 17 against Arizona. So here's this. Here's a stat that I liked. Murray has not ran for more than 7 yards since he's injured his bicep 2 weeks ago, which I thought was a wild stat. So he's not running around. Still scoring a lot of points, but the last 2 weeks, no more than 7 yards running. And here's like an idea. If they're up a lot, do you think they'll play more conservative? And hopefully we can have Houston cover here, score a touchdown, get a field goal. And then the week ahead, they're looking ahead. They're looking to play Green Bay. And I think that's the game they're looking for. They're like, Houston, it's a junky team. This is kind of like a middle spot. That's a Thursday night game next Thursday. So it might be kind of like a skipping game. Like, all right, we're going to play a little conservative. We're going to get up on them. We're going to win the game. But we're not going to try too hard because we don't want to get injured for next game.
It was a good sales pitch. I agree with you. Next Thursday, that's something to look out for. Cardinals Packers, another great game. We know the Fox slate is good on Thursdays now. I think that's something you would do, and maybe you look past the second half of the Texans, and it stays a close game. So
it's a lot of points, 17 points, but
that's a lot of points.
The Bills.
Can I do my next one?
Yeah, go.
All right, Titans Chiefs. It's a good game this week. Okay. I was thinking, Mahomes is a little off. I'll tell you this. I bet the Titans on Monday Night Football against the Bills last week. That was one of my 5 picks, one of my victories. I'm doing it again. It's the same line, 5.5 as it was against the Bills.
Plus same 5.5
line, plus 5.5 at home for the Titans. I'm taking it. Mahomes, Chiefs, they just look a little off. I know they came back. They won the game against Washington. He's throwing picks. Tyreek's dropping balls. There's a little Super Bowl hangover there. I think it's hard to go to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row. That's a lot of extra games. That's 6 extra games that they would have played more than other teams.
Do you think it's more like I like thinking about like the stories, right? Like what are we coming up with? Do you think his brother and his wife and his mom are distracting him by tweeting and calling out the refs, and his brother dancing on like the Washington whatever that jersey was?
He did apologize for that.
He should have done it in the first
I
place.
don't know. I kind of agree with him because I saw a wider shot of that, and hopefully people know Jackson Mahomes TikToking on the Sean Taylor number painted on the grass. I saw a wide shot, and that is where the Washington had it like roped off for VIPs. Like that's where they told him to stand. So that's on Washington more than Jackson.
I feel like they're very noisy, and it's drawing a lot of attention towards his brother. So I think it's almost like at some point you just kind of step away, be like, you guys need to shut the fuck up. Let me play football. You guys get all this great access, but just keep it quiet. Maybe don't make TikToks or tweet at the refs. How about that?
No, I don't think that's the problem with the Chiefs or something.
All right, so going Tennessee, I like it. I think Derrick Henry could run all over him. I just don't like playing. I like playing really bad teams, but not teams that I think are like mediocre. Like I don't know who's better here.
I think Tennessee's decent. They beat Buffalo. They beat Seattle with Russ and Wilson at Seattle. I think Tennessee's a decent team. They have A.J. Brown, Julio Jones. The Chiefs' defense is beginning shredded by receivers deep this year. Those two are both going to go off.
All right, I got San Francisco at home, -4 against Indy. I think Indy is terrible. I think Carson Wentz is terrible. I think Garoppolo, I'm pretty sure Garoppolo is back this week playing. He's good. He's ready to go.
Likely.
I just think San Francisco's a better team, and I'm going to take him here. We haven't, because it's kind of like the unknown. You haven't seen him back. Hopefully he's like ready to go. So I just like San Francisco. And I feel like this is a game a lot of people aren't going to be betting. So hopefully not the line isn't moved too much, but I got it at -4.
It's a Sunday night football game on NBC and Peacock. Yeah. It's two teams we don't know much about them. I feel like they both had injuries and a weird start to the year. I'm staying away. I don't like the bet either way. The one thing I'll say about the Colts, Jonathan Taylor is not getting fed enough, and they're having Carson Wentz attempt too many passes. Yeah. But Jonathan Taylor's only getting 61% of the carries when they do run the ball. Once they trade Marlon Mack in the next week or on the trade deadline, if they can get Jonathan Taylor up to 80% of their carries, feed him more, the Colts offense could be a lot better than it is right now.
Okay. But not today.
Nope, not yet.
Not today.
All right. All right, we both have one more, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to Monday Night Football. I hope you are too.
What's Monday Night Football?
Seahawks, Saints.
Oh, I'm not. I'm not.
You're staying away from that. All right. Yeah. The Seahawks are playing at the Saints. We know it's a tough place to play. Mm-hmm. No, wait. It's at Seattle. It's at Seattle.
Is it in Seattle? Let me check.
Is it Seattle? I have it at Seattle.
I will check.
You check. All right. So Saints at Seattle. Let's just say that. The Seahawks are a 4.5-point dog with Geno Smith. It's in Seattle. Okay. That's what I thought. These are two of the best home crowds in football. Worth more than 3 points. And it's in Seattle. So you got to give them more points. Now, Russell Wilson, if he's playing this game, the Seahawks are probably favored. Now, all of a sudden, they're +4.5 with Geno. It's only one guy out. It's not the whole team is out. I'm telling you they played well against Pittsburgh. You're telling me they didn't. So I don't know the truth at this point. But I'm going with Geno. Yeah. I'm going with +4.5. I don't think he's any worse than Jameis Winston.
The only thing I worry about is if they get down, they won't be able to score. So you have to rely on Seattle to stop Jameis the whole time. And I don't know if they're capable of doing that. Maybe they are.
Jameis can stop himself pretty easily.
I would say Pittsburgh is a pretty bad team, and they didn't look great against a pretty bad team, right? We can agree Pittsburgh is not.
I think Pittsburgh is dysfunctional. I think playing at Pittsburgh when you have to come from Seattle in the first game with your backup quarterback at home in Pittsburgh on Sunday night, that's a tough environment. And for him to go toe-to-toe and take him into overtime, I'm impressed with the outcome. I don't know if it was ugly during, but I'm impressed with the outcome.
Okay. I'll see. I mean, they need it. They need a win here. So hopefully they come out feisty. Maybe they get Cam in the next few days, and maybe he can get in there, throw some balls around, run around. But I don't know. And I don't really know about New Orleans either. They're kind of up and down. Like sometimes they lose against bad teams or win. So we'll see what happens. But I like it. I wouldn't bet it, but I do like it. My last bet, Washington 10.5 at Green Bay. I think Washington's defense might be better than we think. And I think Green Bay's offense is not as good as we think. I think Green Bay's overvalued, and I think Washington is undervalued. I know Heineke's really bad. Fitzpatrick may or may not play this weekend, which may sway the bet a little bit, but there's rumors that he might come back. I like Washington here. If it's a close game, 10.5 points, it's a lot of points. Like you don't realize how many points when you have to score 12, 15, whatever it is. Like it gives you a good advantage. It gives you a little boost. So I'm taking Washington. What do you think?
I don't mind the pick. I think Washington is they'll be okay. They'll be okay with that.
Okay, cool. Great. All right. All right, I know you got to go.
We made five different picks. I got to go get ready for my baseball game. The Braves and Dodgers are playing tonight. This is a way to keep me accountable, so this is going to be good for you going forward, I think.
Oh, yeah, I like it. I wrote all your picks down. All right, check out thesportshangover.com, and if you want to go to wrestling list reviews, hopefully we are back next week.